Good morning. Good morning, Instagram. Good morning, Facebook. Good morning to everybody, whether you are joining in live or whether you are listening to this recorded later. Welcome. Thanks for stopping by. And it's good to see you this morning. Brenna, good to see you. I know that people are going to start coming in here soon, jumping on. And we are in the throes of summer. I'm so excited. It finally feels like summer days here. But in San Diego, it kind of feels like summer days all the time, but the clouds have dispersed and now it's sunny earlier. I'm happy about it. So, good morning to all you guys jumping in. Today, I feel like I have a pretty exciting and possibly controversial topic today. And my topic is the power of pricing. How do we price our services? There's so much information. Um, I just say going around, and not only information, but I'm on a lot of owners forums and leadership forums, and I've been getting my inspiration from these forums lately because I see what gets us as owners and leaders heated. And I see what starts to, you know, throw us for a loop. Even Milo thinks that these owners forums are very, very uh, intriguing. So, um, yeah, so I've been getting my inspiration lately on what has been riling up our fellow leaders and owners. And um, pricing is a big one that's out there right now. And there's, I don't know, I think some controversial information out there. And, me being me, those of you that know me, some of you that know don't, but you'll get to know me, is this is just my opinion. I am someone that has been in this industry I've been an owner of multiple locations for 32 years, and I've been in the industry for 40 years. So none of this information is new to me. Um, I just think as newer owners come in, there are questions, and if we don't have our systems and structures set up ahead of time, then there becomes some drama. So today is about pricing for profit, and how do we structure that? I will say right off the bat, I'm not here to tell you what to charge. That's not for me to tell you because I don't know your overhead. I don't know where you are in the country or the world, and wherever you are and whatever your overhead is and your expenses is really going to determine and should determine what your pricing is. And when I see people, and I say this all the time with regards to owners asking, how should I pay my staff, to how should I price my services, it's not something that you guys should be asking people in a group because you have your own expenses that have to be covered. And so, again, I want to encourage you guys to look within, do the work that you need to do as a leader in order to make sure that your expenses are covered, that you are able to be profitable, and that your team can be profitable. That's really a formula to um, look at in order to structure your prices. So I want to put a little context here before we get started with respect to pricing. Good to see you guys for jumping in. Renee, Audrey, Con, good to see you. Derek, Lisa, you guys, great to see you. I'm happy that you're here today. Some of you guys I don't know, but welcome, welcome. All are welcome. For those of you that just jumped in, I'm talking about pricing for profit today, and how should we look at a pricing structure for our business. The context that I'm going to be speaking inside of is going to be inside this bubble called employment-based businesses. So if you're an independent and you're listening, I definitely think that there is information that you can take that'll be valuable for you. But inside some of the bullet points that I have are really going to be for employment-based business owners. But like I said, I think that the concept of it could shed some light if you're independent as well. Um, I've been getting my Mindset Monday inspiration. I said this at the top of the hour, quite a bit from these owners um, forums, because I see what's really like heating up, where there's a lot of comments, a lot of interaction. And um, most of the time, this is just how I look at it. I could be off. Most of the time, there's two main causes of upset in a business to a leader that I'm kind of looking at as I'm watching these forums. One is lack of communication with your team. Lack of communication, either lacking the skill set to be a good communicator, or there's a fear of communication, that you don't want to upset the apple cart. Therefore, you won't communicate if things aren't going the way that you envision them to go, and therefore they get out of hand. And then other people start seeing that that behavior is okay, and then it turns into a shit show. And so that's one, is a lack of communication. The second thing that I see as some of the biggest issues as leaders and business owners, and this goes for salons and non-salons, this goes for business in general: lack of systems. I know you guys are sick of hearing me say this word, and you probably want to block the word from my mouth, but systems are there to support the vision of the owner. And it is there to make sure that they are sustainable and profitable, that the customers are getting what they need, and that their team are also sustainable, successful, and profitable. So that's why we have systems in our business. And I want to tell you that this issue of pricing for profit, or the power of pricing, is no different. And I want to dive into that because I'm seeing that some of the biggest issues that are showing up on these leadership forums are, the biggest one that I see most of the time really is that I have a stylist or some stylists that are charging way too much, AKA price gouging. But the other issue that I see when I'm doing coaching with my clients, my coaching clients, is the majority of time what's happening with regard to pricing is the staff are not charging enough, and they're afraid to charge too much. And so they don't charge for add-on services, conditioning treatments. They might charge the base price of a highlight, let's say, but the hair is super dense, and they should be charging based on grams. And they're not, because they're afraid, or they've been charging their client since the beginning and they've been afraid to continue to elevate the pricing. So for those of you that are on here, throw me some comments and let me know if this has been an issue for you. I've seen it in my own business, and I feel like I've got my finger on the trigger most of the time. But I've seen before where a stylist is not charging for a conditioning treatment, or really charging for super long hair, yet they're mixing more color. Maybe the client came in for a haircut and they have super dense hair, and it's taking them longer because they don't want to style in their natural texture, but they want it blown out and flat ironed, extra time, add-on service. So charging too little is not enabling you to make your overhead. So the cost of providing that service is costing more than any profit you could be making from it. And if your staff isn't charging enough, I will say that their paycheck then is going to suffer, and then their sustainability or ability to pay their bills ends up going in the toilet too. Derek, I have a stylist that charges combined pricing instead of a la carte, which poses problems when others do the guest hair. Yes, this is, Derek, exactly what I'm talking about. So if you have an employment-based business, and I'm going to get into this. So I have 5 key topics and I'm going to get back to that, Derek, because I think that's a really good one. Brenna said pre-quoting before the service, 100%. But a lot of people are afraid to even utter the words I know that the base price says $200, but it's going to be $350 today for whatever reason. That's not that it's bad that it's going up $150, but what reason is it going up $150 based on the quoted price? So pre-quoting is the way to go, Brenna, 100%. That's called having a proper consultation and working with the client to make sure they understand the expectations instead of them checking out at the end of a service and wondering what in God's name happened that they're charged $150 more, $200 more, even $30 more. They should know what they are going to be spending, especially when they're getting a variable service. They're getting a haircut. Your haircuts are a standard price. Unless there's some sort of upsell, should there be really a consultation on the price of the haircut? Price of the haircut, if it's a standard pricing, like us, we have, gender inclusive pricing. So anywhere from a kid to a male haircut to a woman's haircut to whatever, a they them haircut, it's all the same price. And when it takes longer than the set out timing is when we talk about pricing. So color is most of the time the variable here. Extensions might also be the variable. But look, our staff get paid on two elements here. They get paid on what they charge and how many people sit in their chair. It's like that's the formula. Yes, you add in what they get paid, but even if you paid a few percent lower, a few percent higher, the biggest factor is what they're charging. People can make way more money by adding on a service than by you giving them 2% more commission. Trust me, do the math. You'll see that if they add it on or increase their prices, they're going to have a way bigger raise than if you kept chipping away at your profit with the percentage. So I have five different bullet points I want to go over today, and I hope to get through them in my proposed timing with you today. Again, I'm going to give you this disclaimer, and the disclaimer is this is my opinion. I am not going to sit here and judge or say you have to do it this way. I'm not one of those coaches that put out a mandate that say it's this way or you're going to be a failure. I don't believe that. I believe that there are a lot of different ways that you can run your business if you plan it out and make sure that that's going to be a win. And I work with clients all the time that run their businesses in different ways that are profitable and successful. So this is in no way a my way or the highway. These are thoughts or potential guidelines for you to think about with respect to pricing. 1, develop a pricing system for your company that after all your expenses that you have to pay, your overhead, operational costs, that you will be yielded a 10% or better profit. So when I say look at your overhead, when people ask this question out in these owners forums, what should I be paying commission? Well, who even knows what your overhead is? You have your overhead, you have all your operational costs. I mean, come on. So a pricing system for your company that after you pay your expenses, including what you're paying for payroll, that'll cover all that and yield you a profit. And think about this, yielding your team a good paycheck. So step 1 is develop a pricing system. That's just step 1. I'm going to get into these other steps that will support this step 1. Step 2, I want to talk about this concept of pricing autonomy. I see these coaches running their mouth out there, pricing autonomy, let people charge what they want to charge, let people come and go in the salon the way they want to come and go. Yeah, there might be a business model for that, but I'm here to tell you, again, not that I keep saying running businesses for 32 years, but I do think the reason I say that is I've had boots on the ground for 32 years as a stylist, as an owner of one location and multiple locations, and coaching hundreds of owners, okay? To have your stylist come in and say, I'm going to be in charge of my own pricing, puts your company at risk. It puts your company at risk because if they're not charging enough, then you're paying for all of the product, all of the towels, all the shampoo, all the rent, and you don't know if what they're charging is covering your expenses. That's if they're charging too little. Per Derek's point earlier, when he has one stylist that charges combined pricing and everyone else charges a la carte pricing, you get inconsistent messages regarding the guest experience, which I'm going to get to on my next point is the guests. But pricing autonomy is you might have on your website that you start at $200 for a highlight, and the client comes in because of that, because it's the advertised starting price. But then to not have a proper consultation, a pricing consultation, because someone has fear around that, which most stylists do. I'm here to tell you, don't be in a bubble. Don't be in denial. Most people have an issue talking about money. This is a thing across all businesses. This isn't just the hair industry. So they don't talk about it because they have a fear of talking about it. And then the client checks out getting $1,000 bill when in their mind, it said starting at 200, even though it said starting at, in their mind, it's $200. And unless you tell me different, that's my expectation of what I'm going to pay. So this whole narrative and message around pricing autonomy, charge what you want, I just call bullshit on it. And I call bullshit on it because as a business owner that has leveraged my houses to get businesses, that has I've taken out loans worth millions to open businesses. Do you think for 1 minute I'm going to let somebody else dictate the level of income that comes into my business for me to be able to pay my expenses? People, wake up. Seriously, I know that I have a lot of passion around this, but it's like insane to think about me letting my staff decide on what they're going to charge. And this isn't about me not trusting my staff. I completely trust my staff. But how could they decide what to charge when they have no idea what my expenses are as a business owner? That would be me owning a convenience store. I have all my expenses, and I say to the customer, pay what you can. Is that going to happen? No, it's like insane to think about that's going to happen because we have bills to pay. Not only do we have bills to pay, we have to be a profitable business. Profit is not a dirty word. We have to be exceeding 10% profit for our business to be sustainable, for our business to be able to have money in case of an emergency, for us to be able to take a paycheck. Come on, let's get it together. I mean, some of us opened businesses because we were really busy hairdressers and we decided because I'm a good hairdresser, I'm going to be a great owner. That was me. I thought I'm a busy hairdresser. I'm like out here educating, traveling all over the country as an educator. I'm good at these things. And because I'm good at these things, I'm going to be a good owner. I had no information. I have no college degree. I'll just tell you that right now. And I had no business opening a business because I didn't know what it took to run a business. So I had to learn through the school of hard knocks, looking at the bottom line of my P&L, seeing if there were brackets or no brackets. So I am telling you from experience, you can't leave it up to your team to tell you what they're going to charge. Now, this brings me to number 3. Company optics and narrative. What are optics and narrative? All right. It's how other people view us. What is the perception of other people when they look and experience our business? As a business owner, you're probably the same way. We're in our business, we're excited about what we're doing, and we think that our customers see our businesses as being amazing because we feel amazing about our business. The two things don't necessarily go hand in hand. There's this one thing called, I'm here operating my business, doing the best I can. And there's a whole nother world out there viewing my business and judging my business. And a judgment doesn't have to be negative. It could be, I'm judging it and I love it, or I'm judging it and they're price gouging me. And therefore, I'm going to tell everybody else that I went to this one person, Derek, kind of to your point, I went to this one person, I got charged this much. And for the same exact service, somebody else charged me totally different, but it was the same thing that I got. Okay. Now, I could see different pricing if you have different levels and it's advertised that way. Therefore, the expectation is if I go to a junior stylist, I'm going to pay this much. If I go to a master stylist, I'm going to pay this much. Yes, the pricing could change, but to allow your staff to make up a totally different way to get a price or a value on a service, to me, is dangerous. It's dangerous for your sustainability and it's dangerous for your company optics. So, okay, so we talked about company optics, which really, if you think about company optics, that's your reputation, just putting it in like, layman's terms, right? Company optics, company narrative is what we're saying and how people perceive us. And so that's our reputation. And so if you have not structured a pricing strategy where there's consistency and continuity amongst your team and how they choose to price, you risk that. Look, our reputation as it is with all of the online reviewing is always up for grabs. So it's like, if we could do things as owners to really harness a little more of a systemic way of working that builds continuity from one person to the next and consistency, we're going to have a higher chance of having a great reputation than when we have people just come in and every person, it's like one person for themselves. Shelby said, your brand, your business, your job to hold the standard. Yeah. Yes. This is what we signed up for. And when I look on these owners forums, which is the impetus for I'm going to call it my rant today, is I see that owners are just getting a business and not thinking about a strategy for paying their bills or paying themselves. At first, there is an ego thing that happens with opening a business, that you're like, I'm a business owner and look at me and I have my own business. And our ego is wrapped up in that. Look how great I'm doing. And wow, the optics of that, or that I'm super successful. And then the reality sets in, doesn't it? The reality sets in that I have to pay my bills and I have to run a harmonious business and I have to deal with customer issues. And I have to deal with things outside my own behaviors from somebody else's behavior that's causing the company grief that is also now my responsibility. But we don't think about that when we say, I'm going to just go get a business and not plan for it. And out of desperation, we start asking people, how much do you charge? How should I pay my team? How much should I charge for this? How much should I charge to rent this booth? I just bought a rental studio. I don't know, what's the business plan of how much you need to charge for each studio in order to have profit? I mean, why would you be asking a group that? And I'm not shaming you. I love our owners groups. I love to see the brainstorming and the ideas that go on in these groups. I love them. But I want to just impart on you guys as leaders. Sit down with yourself. If you need help, hire a coach. Maybe it's me, maybe it's somebody else. I don't know. But sit down and figure out, what do you need to be charging for your pricing? What should you be paying your staff? based on your rent, based on your bills, in order for you to make enough money to have a sustainable company. So guys, I mean, okay, I know I'm going off on these tangents. So company optics, the power of pricing for profit. All decisions aren't necessarily based on profit, although at the end of the day, if we don't have profit, we don't have a business. But it's not just profit for the business, it's profit for your staff. So the power of pricing for profit is for the company that has to be profitable, but your staff has to be profitable in order for you to retain them. And retention is a whole nother issue, right? So for those of you that are just joining in, we're talking about the power of pricing our services. So by putting a pricing structure in your business, and this is, in my opinion, is key to managing company narrative, managing expectations of staff and clients, and to make the consultations consistent with your entire team. So look, I said earlier that I don't believe in pricing autonomy, that people come in and charge what they want. But the caveat to that is people do have a say-so in how much they charge. Once there's a base price, if the density of the hair is more than what is allocated for that price, then you charge more per gram. If the length of the hair, if they want to add on highlights, if you need to mix and it's multiple colors, if you're adding on conditioning treatments, people have autonomy inside this structure, this guideline that you as the owner have created. There's autonomy inside this. But to say irresponsibly, to just show up whenever you want and have autonomy over charging whatever you want as a leader puts you at risk for losing your business. And I'm here to just say that. And I do believe in that. Number 5, team earnings. I think I mentioned this before. We want to be profitable, but we want our staff to be profitable. So when you think of a pricing structure, I'm just going to throw this out here as we kind of wind down our time here today. If you put a pricing structure in place that maybe is lower pricing for newer artists and steps up a couple of levels or stages for more experienced stylists, and maybe how you pay also steps up. You start a little lower for newer people that you're training and you're building. And as they get more skilled and become busier, you can step up the pricing and the percentage that you're paying. So people get a double raise as they are increasing their skill set and their business acumen. My caveat to that is that you should not be paying more than 45% of your service dollars that come in, not total sales. Total sales is retail plus service. That's your total sales. I'm talking about of the service dollars that come in. If you want to have a profitable business, part of that is managing the expense, the biggest expense called payroll. And that should not exceed more than 45% of the service dollars coming in. That doesn't mean pay everybody 45%. It means you have to get creative in your compensation structure in order for you to land there. If you need help with that, reach out, because compensation is the biggest expense in our company, period. And if that is unmanageable, you're going to have a hard time being profitable. So look, if you're going to do some kind of pricing structure, a level system where people get stepped up, then I would recommend keeping it very simple. Don't make it very complicated, but there should be criteria that each level gets in order to move to the next level, that they've accomplished that level. They've achieved the skill set and acumen in order to move to the next level. We call those criteria pieces, criteria cards. They tick it all off. They have the availability to elevate and get promoted. Renee, has the benchmark changed? I've been trying to keep my team hourly and commission combined between 40 and 43. Great. To me, the benchmark hasn't changed. Some people's benchmark maybe has changed, but in my companies, I know where my sweet spot is. And our sweet spot is that we usually trend between 42 and 43%, but we cannot exceed 45% of our payroll dollars, 45% of the service dollars going to payroll, I should say. So Ah, that was a mouthful in 30 minutes. 30 minutes, guys. I mean, I hope some of it made sense. I'm going to just do a quick recap of my points. Develop a pricing structure. Pricing autonomy is not recommended. Yes, I said it. I said it and I'm not mad about it. Pricing autonomy could be a shit show for your business and put you out of business. You have to make sure that the base price at least covers your expenses. 3, controlling the company narrative and company optics. Your reputation is everything, right? A lot of things to think about. Pricing for profit. How we price and what we're charging dictates whether we pay our bills and whether our staff get to pay their bills and what their paychecks look like. And which gets me to point 5, team earnings. Make sure there's a structure in place that your team is able to get raises and elevate and make a lot of money where they work. It's our job as leaders to show our staff how to make a lot of money. And I will just say this is going to be a teaser for my next live, which is not next week. I'm on vacation. It'll be the week after, which is investigating different streams of revenue that are available not only to the company, but to your team. Our teams sometimes only think the services that are on my books that I'm doing is the only stream of revenue. But I see it differently. And I want to share that with you on my next live. So if you thought that this was valuable, look, like it, share it, comment on it, share it with your friends, tag a friend. And if you need help getting your shite together, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm always here. And as you can see, it's my passion. I'm totally passionate about not only this topic, but just about every topic that you could throw my way. So with regards to business, but I mean, I could be passionate about other things too. So let me just say in closing, Milo and I say, have a great week and we'll see you in 2 weeks. We will see you in 2 weeks, right, Milo? My desk mate. Milo's my desk mate. All right, guys, have a wonderful week. And let me know your thoughts on this. Drop me some comments, all right? This Instagram live will go up as a recording, so save your comments when it goes up for a recording. But my Facebook live, all of your comments stay there. I just want to make sure I catch them all. So, all right, guys, have a great week. Mwah. Love to you all. Ciao, ciao.